13-6. Tyrone Galvin now in the backfield. He's the lone back in the backfield as McClellan goes under center. Hicks in motion from the right side to the left. The pitch to Galvin to the left. Galvin the 10. Galvin the 5, angling towards the corner. Keeps his feet. Touchdown Raiders. Tyrone Galvin, 15 yards for his 4th rushing TD of the season. And the Raiders lead the...
Tyrone Galvin, talk about it, what the season he is having. He is just completely dominating the entire conference. Punt returns, running, catching onto the backfield, you name it, he's taking. So we do have another call coming in. So what's your name and where are you calling from tonight?
My name's Emlyn. I'm calling from Chicago.
Okay, what's your question for me?
Well, my question would be, would the Racine Threat be better served if they left Racine and went to a different town? Are they ever going to be able to compete on even footing with a team that's established as the Raiders? I mean, outside of the first game, it's progressively getting worse and worse, and they're headed into, somebody hanging 100 points on them.
Yeah, probably wouldn't be necessarily a bad thing. And, Don and Gino were talking after the game. They have had a lot of turmoil during the offseason and then during the week, and that obviously doesn't help. And, when you have players, leaving the team out of the blue middle of the season, obviously things aren't going to go very well. But that is definitely a good question to ask, and maybe it's something the Threat should explore. Maybe, move their games to Kenosha possibly and, try to set up residence there, because it is definitely very tough when you're trying to take on a team that's been around as long as the Raiders have and have their reputation. So 2 quick questions before I let you go. Raiders are now 6-0 against the Threat. Do you consider the Threat a rival to the Raiders?
I no, not at all. I don't even know if the Threat could beat the Raiders' second-teamers at this point.
Yeah, I don't think they would either based off the game, because the Raiders did score 14 points in the fourth quarter when obviously all their second and third teamers are in there, and most of the third quarter the backups are in. And since this was billed as a rivalry game, what is a couple of your favorite rivalry games in sports?
In college football, nothing beats Ohio State, Michigan, or Army, Navy.
Yep,
There's something special about that game.
Yeah, those are two very good games there. And you said you're in Chicago now. Are you do you side on the Bears side of the rivalry or the Packers side of that rivalry?
That's since they got rid of Ditka. No, actually, believe it or not, I'm an Oakland Raiders fan. My first boss played for them, so I kind of got indoctrinated to silver and black at a very young age.
Okay, yeah, that's they have a couple of nice little rivalries going too with the with the Broncos in that division. But thanks for calling and thank you for listening, and enjoy the rest of your night.
Thanks for taking my call.
Yep, no problem. And as he drops off, we have room for another caller, 634-WRJN. That's 634-9756. We are waiting for a call from the voice of the Raiders, Don Wadewitz, assuming he has much of a voice left after calling this one, the 91-20 Raider victory in this today. Now, I do have to make a couple of awards for the day. Our player of the game for the Racine Raiders and our player of the game. And looking at the player of the game, when you have a score 91-20, it's you can go a lot of different ways with it. You could go Galvin for his performance, 7 carries and 63 yards. You can go the quarterback, Craig McClendon, 9 for 10 for 179 yards and 3 touchdowns. You could go with Terrence Fitch, 2 catches for 73 yards, long of 60. Or you can look at some of their defensive guys as well, who the defense as a whole played another great game. They had 2 sacks and 8 tackles for loss. But for me, I got to give the player of the game to Craig and his performance tonight, 9 of 10 for 179 yards and 3 touchdowns. He also ran the ball once for 3 yards, picking up a key first down on a 4th down attempt that they went on. And to go along with that, the play of the game, now obviously, the score is pretty out of line at this time, but my play of the game is the Racine Threat scored a touchdown, a 3-yard touchdown run with 32 seconds left in the half to cut it to 35-14 Raiders. The touchdown pass went to Taron Turner from Serge Alberton. And the Raiders had an option. They could either take a knee on it because they get the ball to start the second half. They could take a knee on it and go in the locker room with that 35-14 lead, or they could, or they could try to score and go up even more at going in the locker room. And the Raiders decided they wanted to tack some points on and go in the locker room up 42-14. And that was a 60-yard touchdown pass to Terrence Fitch from Craig with 24 seconds left in the half, and Don Wadewitz on the call.
3 receivers right, 2 to the left for McClellan. McClellan takes it, looking to his left, throwing, or to his right, throwing to his left. Fitch hauls it in at the 20 and into the end zone. No way! Yes! Touchdown Raiders!
And with that, the Raiders went into the locker room with that 42-14 lead. And then they went on and scored another touchdown to start the second half to stretch it to 49-14 on a 7-yard touchdown run from J.R. Taylor with 11:25 left in the third quarter to, like I said, stretch it to the 49-14 victory. And here's Don Wadewitz on the call.
Fitch all alone to the left. Worthington and DeLee out to the right. I-formation backfield of Marcus Baskin and J.R. Taylor as Craig McClellan ducks under center for the Raiders. Puts Worthington in motion from right to left. Hands it off to Taylor. Worthington, a great block. Taylor into the end zone. Hat trick, touchdown Raiders!
And the as you said, the hat trick touchdown Raiders, that was J.R. Taylor's third touchdown of the game. And following that touchdown, the Raiders did take out their starters and put the reserves in the game. And the reserves outscored the Racine Threat, as well as shortly after that, the Raiders had a 23-yard touchdown pass to Miles Spreaker from Anthony Johnson with 11:06 left in the third quarter to make it 56-14 Racine Raiders.
2 receivers right, 2 to the left. Lashley to the left of Anthony Johnson. Johnson in the shotgun, looking to his left, looking to his right, back to his left. Now he's rolling out, throwing, end zone, back of the end zone, touchdown Raiders! Catch made, Miles Spiegel, and the Raiders lead 55-14 with 11:06 to play in the third quarter.
So, yeah, just like that, it was 56-14 with 11:06 left to play in the third quarter. If I'm not mistaken, I believe that the Raiders forced a fumble and took possession of the ball on that particular play. And then finish up the game, the Raiders had a 41-yard touchdown run by Howard Triplett with 6:46 left in the third. A 48-yard punt return by the playmaker, Tyrone Galvin, a 48-yard punt return that made it 70-14. The Raiders broke the 70 mark on that one.
Hearn takes the snap. A short kick. It's going to one hop to Tyrone Galvin at the 48. Far hash marks. Galvin the 40, the 35. Galvin the 30. 20. Go, go, Galvin, go! Touchdown Raiders! Tyrone Galvin, 48 yards to pay dirt. The Raiders now lead 69-14 for.
And like Don said, it was 69-14. The point after was good. The Raiders broke the 70 mark, but they weren't done there. They ended up taking a 77-14 lead on a fumble return by Aaron Hilliard to, as I said, make it 77-14.
A little something going for the Threat, so they go to the hurry-up. Collier slot right into the backfield again. 3 receivers left, 1 to the right for Albritton. Takes a snap, fakes the handoff. Rolling out to his right, gets by Hilliard. Albritton still on his feet. Ball comes out, right to Hilliard. J.D. Hardy knocked it out. Hilliard, Green in front, 20, 10, touchdown Raiders!
And with that fumble return by Aaron Hilliard. It became a 77-14 lead, and we do have a caller on the line. How you doing today, Coach?
I'm good. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Congratulations on the win. This is Coach Kennedy giving us a call.
Well, thank you. I was happy for the guys. They played really well tonight.
Yeah, they definitely did. And, you were talking the keys to victory when you were talking to Don prior to the game. You had to execute, stay physical. And the big one you had talked about was starting fast. And after that first quarter, it's like you guys put the pedal to the metal and just completely ran the threat out of the game. Now, at the end of the first quarter, did you guys make any adjustments to at all, or you just kept playing your game?
No, we just kept with our same game plan. There was really no adjustments to make. We knew we were going to leave the starters in for just one series, and then we start bringing in, the second, third, and fourth string guys. So when we brought them in, we scaled down. But we were running a lot of dives. We were running some sweeps. We were just running the football, and guys were blocking wells, and guys were seeing the holes, and especially Howard Triplett. The kid's 18 years old, and he got to play a lot in that third and fourth quarter, and he was excited to be out there, and he did a great job. I mean, he's a special kid, and he's gonna. If we keep him around, I think he's gonna be a beast in a couple of years.
Yeah, definitely. He had the big game as well, and then Tyrone Galvin. Just how amazing of a player is he?
It's like it gets to the point where you just can't say or come up with any more words to describe him. As great of a player that he is as humble, and he's never one of those guys where he's selfish, that he feels he has to be on the field every play, every down. He's not that kind of guy. He's very team-oriented. And, with that great attitude he has equally the athletic ability and skill of few people have. He's a great person. He's a great football player.
Obviously, the threat, we're going to come in a little, playing up for this game, but just, from your perspective as a coach, how difficult is it coming into a game like the threat were tonight, having an interim coach, Jason Pardo, take over when Brent Moss ended up stepping down middle of the week?
That is never easy for a coach to step in on short notice, get prepared, because you got to get you're trying to apply your coaching, philosophy, and, you're trying to come up with a game plan, and, then there's situational stuff. There's just so much going on where when you're, the head coach and you have the whole off season to prepare for, the upcoming season. He definitely got thrown right into the hot seat, biggest game of the year for both teams, the big platform, and, it's a lot. It's a lot for anybody, but to come in as an interim coach in that situation, I tip my hat off. Their guys came out. They had a real nice drive, their first possession, drove down the field, score, and I go, here we go. This is that game I was talking about. And, we were fortunate enough to come back with a nice drive ourselves. And then, once we got up on top of them, the guys really got rolling. So, I have nothing but respect for them. I think he did a great job getting us guys prepared. They were definitely ready to play. It's just, it comes down to where, they didn't have as many players. I think they had probably about 35 guys over there, maybe 40. I'm not sure. Where we had our full, 53. So after a while, the guys are playing. They get tired, they get worn down. And we're still pumping in fresh players. So I tip my hat out to them. The guys, they kept playing. They played full court. They scored another touchdown late. They scored another one. So they weren't giving up.
No, they definitely weren't giving up. And, back to your team, you traveled to Iowa week 1 to play the Blaze, and obviously the outcome didn't go as you wanted, as you ended up dropping that one, but you've won every game since you've played. What lessons did you guys learn on that trip to Iowa?
The biggest thing about the Iowa trip was, one thing that we learned